Hey guys, we are back with new What If Naruto story. What if Naruto was raised by Great Red and trained by Kagaya in DxD Universe movie? It was a few minutes after the end of the Fourth Great Shinobi War, and the aftermath was devastating, leaving nothing but destruction for miles and miles with dead bodies and remains littering the ground. The hero of the war himself, Naruto, was nowhere to be seen, having been pulled into a dimension gap by accident when his sage-powered Rasen Shuriken collided with a fully powered Gudama wielded by Kagaya Utsutsuki. The effects of the colliding forces was so strong it had more than a few effects, first of which was the death of everyone, aside from Naruto and Kagaya. The second was the sudden reversal of chakra not into Kagaya, but into Naruto, surprisingly turning his hair red. After a few minutes of the chakra reversal, Kagaya passed away from chakra depletion, and a portal opened up behind Naruto, dragging him into wherever it led. In the dimension gap. It was a rainbow of colors constantly changing. There was no air as at well. It seems the only thing keeping our hero alive was his chakra form, seeing as he had become a pure chakra being much like the tailed beasts, except that he still held a mortal form which was close to dying due to the atmosphere of the dimensional gap. Where am I? Naruto thought as he just stood wherever he was, looking at what appeared to be a kaleidoscope sky, too disoriented to move at all. Hearing movement on his side, he turned his head to get a good look at what was making the noise, only to get shocked as he saw a dragon, not the one in a children's book, but a real live and scary looking dragon. It was colored red, and it had a huge horn on its snout, and its underbelly was colored white, all in all its entire color scheme, and its appearance made it look very threatening and scary. I see you're awake, the dragon said. Me name is Great Red, and I reside here in the dimension gap. What are you doing here, ninja? No human can survive here long after all. The now named Great Red asked Naruto. Seeing no way out of this, Naruto told his story to the dragon before him of his life in the lands of the shinobi, his birth up to the war with Madara, and his fight with Kagaya. I see you have faced much hardships as a gift for entertaining me, and I am sure you will continue to entertain me. I will give your human form a better form. As a Yokai Kitsune, enjoy your second life, Uzumaki Naruto. I hope great things of you, Great Red said as he was moved by Naruto's life. Not that he would ever admit it out loud, but he admired Naruto's tenacity, and so he gave Naruto the second shot at life. I have the feeling I forgot to say something. Oh well, it will be more interesting this way anyway, Great Red said, watching on as Naruto vanished from his realm. I hope you live better than you have in your old one, were Great Red's last thoughts of Naruto, before finding a place to rest before Office came back to bother him with some challenge or another. In the human world outside of Kyoto. Naruto reappeared outside the shrine temple in Kyoto, however, with a few differences. One, he was now a baby, and two, he has lost all memories of the past, so here he was a baby crying out for someone, and lastly, he had fox ears on top of his head, replacing his human ears, and 9 small fox tails sticking out of his tailbone wrapping around him trying to keep himself warm. Hearing crying outside of her shrine, Yasaka, a Kitsune Yokai and leader of the Yokai faction in Kyoto, lay Kunu, her recently born daughter, down on her cradle, having stopped her crying anyway, and left to investigate the source of the crying, only to see a newborn Kitsune Yokai, his 9 tails swishing madly in the air while wailing his heart out. Her motherly instincts kicking over, she picked up the child and started to comfort him to the best of her abilities. Who left him here? I wonder who are his parents. There aren't any 9-tailed Kitsune aside from myself and Kunu, and it's against the rules for us Kitsune Yokai to abandon a child. It was then it hit her, his parents must have died, because it was against a Kitsune's nature to abandon a child, so that only meant they had died. Such a sad thing. He was probably just born, and his parents were already dead. Feeling someone hold him in their arms, Naruto calmed slightly, snuggling deeper into the warm arms of the person now holding him. Opening his eyes, he raised his arms trying to hold whoever it was holding him. Seeing this, Yasaka brought her hand over his face, making Naruto grab her finger and brought it closer to his face, making Yasaka Kua the cute face he was making. I won't abandon you, I'll raise you like my own. I only hope your parents are really dead, Yasaka thought as she continued to soothe the now entertained child who was entranced with her finger. In the heavens. Please raise Naruto-chan. Well, a redhead woman thought sadly as she watched her son be cared for by someone else other than her, having lost a chance to raise him twice now. It drove her to tears as she felt as if fate had cheated her out of being a mother twice now. The first time was when she was killed shortly after Naruto was born, and now when he had been reborn, she could not raise him since she had long since passed away and could not leave the afterlife. No matter how much she wanted to, all she could do at this point was wait for her son to join her in the afterlife. I just wish Minato was here, she thought to herself. It will still be a few years before Minato can join her in heaven because his soul has yet to fully recover from summoning the Shinigami, enduring the Shinigami's punishment, and being summoned back to the world of the living. Needless to say, it will take a while before he can join her again. Back in Kyoto. Naruto had just calmed down and stopped crying to look at who was now carrying him. He saw a woman with yellow hair as bright as his own looking down on him, dressed in a traditional Maiko outfit. "Oh, weren't you a cute one whom I wonder what should I name you," Yusaka said to no one in particular, making Naruto gurgle at her. "Ah, I get it, how about let's call you Naruto a Maelstrom," Yusaka said, to which Naruto gurgled even more in excitement. "Oh, you agree with me? Well, it is a nice name after all to be named Maelstrom, an unstoppable force of nature," Yusaka said, shifting Naruto in her arms so he can sleep. "Very well, Naruto, let's get you settled into your new home, shall we?" Yusaka said as she re-entered the shrine that doubled as her home. 7 years later. It was a very hot summer, as all summers usually were in Japan anyway. Here Yusaka could be seen watching over her 2 little hyperactive fox kits, running all over the place. Frankly, it was driving her nuts. Watching over one was already difficult, but watching over 2 was getting too much for her to handle. "Will you 2 settle down? I can't keep an eye on both of you all the time," Yusaka said with a slightly stern voice and a sigh, feeling stressed already, and it was still morning. "Sorry Ka-san, I was just playing with Kunu," Naruto said, his head bent downwards, feeling nervous that his mother was a bit irritated at him. He had always been a good censor for emotions, and right now he could feel his mother's irritation and was unpleasant for Naruto. Looking at her son, Yusaka knew he was sensing her growing irritation, so she gently patted his head. "Naruto, it's okay, I'm not irritated at you, okay? It's just been a stressful week for me," Yusaka said, having to be in so many meetings. Being the leader of the Yokai faction in Kyoto, it was not made easier, especially when the Council of Elders often tried to push for her to have more children. She could barely handle 2. What made them think she could handle more? Visibly calming down at his mother's words, Naruto hugged his mother before running off with Kunu to once again explore another part of the shrine. By how time passes, and to think they were just recently babies and now they're almost ready for my training, Yusaka thought to herself as she followed her 2 children as they roamed around the house, smirking as she did. Oh, the torture she could put them through with it. Naruto and Kunu felt a chill run down their spine from their mother's strange chuckling, but they chose to ignore it for now to continue exploring. Oh, the innocence of youth. 2 years later. Yusaka was bothered her problem. Naruto was very skilled, very skilled. It was as if using his kitsune powers was so natural to him it worried her. He had already mastered the kitsune's fire element, as well as the kitsune type illusions. Not only that, but he even made a few moves that he taught her, and Kunu one was the Rasengan, a chakra-based technique that was really powerful and could be given variations when applied with Senjutsu and Jujutsu. Naruto even figured out a way to walk on water and walls using chakra as an anchor, and he taught her and Kunu how to do it. Whenever Yusaka had asked him how he had thought of such moves, he simply shrugged and said it came to him in a dream. And this is what troubled her a lot. If it came to him in a dream, it could mean that someone is influencing him, and the only one powerful to do it was Great Red himself. If he was, what did he want with her son, and why was he sending him these thoughts? Though not all of these dreams were helpful, once she had caught Naruto trying to master Senjutsu without her, and this led to him losing control of himself. It was only by luck she had managed to knock him out before he had done any harm. Naruto had never felt so ashamed as he had then when he was scolded out by his mother for using Senjutsu without her around to supervise. Needless to say, she made him promise not to do it unless she was around to watch him. This did not do anything to slow his progress though, as he surprisingly mastered Senjutsu faster than his mother, which prompted her to teach him his Jujutsu, which varied from person to person. As it turned out, he had 2 types of Jujutsu: chains and blades. Chains allowed him to convert his chakra into solid matter, creating chains which was nearly indestructible. It held a secret ability which was draining energy from whatever it encased. Blades on the other hand was turning his chakra into solid matter in the form of whatever blade he thought of. Not only that he could channel his chakra nature into it, Naruto spent a lot of time to master his Jujutsu, to which his mother said was normal after all. It took her 4 years to master her Jujutsu, which was focused around blood, making her even deadlier when she was injured. Yusaka also took to teaching Naruto and Kunu how to maintain a human appearance so that they may be able to leave the shrine to explore the human world. Not only that, but she also taught them to enter full fox form, both normal and yokai. Normal fox form allowed them to take the appearance of a normal fox. Their yokai fox form allowed them to take a fox form with multiple tails in varying sizes. Kunu was the size of the shrine with 9 tails, Yusaka was the size of 1.5 skyscrapers with 9 tails, and Naruto was only slightly smaller than Yusaka and held 9 tails as well. This brought a lot of attention to Naruto, whom the other yokai in Kyoto started to call him a prodigy and the Prince of Kyoto. This irked Naruto a lot since he did not like attention too much and often felt embarrassed when he was addressed as such by anyone, much to his mother's and sister's amusement. 7 years later. "Hello Kuo, here I come," Naruto said as he exited the train. He has come to Kuo for his 3rd and 4th year studies before he went back to Kyoto to inherit the position of yokai leader from his mother. Despite going to high school, he was not here for studies, rather he was here to observe the other supernatural factions, more specifically the demon and fallen angel factions that seemed to have settled in the city. I can sense the devils and some fallen angels nearby. Oh well, more fun for me when I make my move, Naruto thought with a menacing smile on his face like a fox who just found his prey. Oh yes, this would be a fun 2 years for Naruto. What could happen next? It was a fine bright day when Naruto had gotten to Kuo. As he exited the train, he could already feel more than a dozen supernatural beings in the city. Seems like a hotspot for supernatural activity, Naruto thought to himself as he walked through the roads of Kuo, looking for the house his mother had rented for his use while he was in Kuo. Walking down the street, he eventually located the place his mother had rented for him to live in for his duration at Kuo. It was a lovely 2-story Japanese-themed house with a front and backyard. He could see a garden shed in the corner of the lot. Entering the house, he noticed that the furniture had a mix of Eastern and Japanese culture. Choosing a room on the second floor, he began to unpack his bags, putting away his clothes and some mementos he brought with him. He eventually caught himself staring at a photo of him, Yasaka and Kunu, after he had mastered his Yokai Fox form. Flashback. It was a rainy day when he had accomplished it. He had mastered a full Yokai Fox form. He felt so free, so alive, it was as if he had been set free from shackles binding him in human form. He was enjoying this form a lot. "Hasen, do I have any attacks in this form? Or do I have to defend with my claws, teeth and tail?" Naruto asked as he sat down in full Yokai Fox form. "Yes we do, we have our Kitsune fire techniques amplified, as well as our other chakra natures, however the most amplified is fire. Our Senjutsu is also amplified as well, allowing us to use our techniques stronger. On another note, our Yujutsu has been immensely amplified in our Yokai Fox form, granting it new abilities which you have to figure out and master on your own," Yasaka answered. She was in her Yokai Fox form as well, staring down at Naruto as she still towered over him for now. In Naruto's mind, however, he was recollecting as a memory had returned to him, a memory of him in a similar fox form, except it was a bright yellow flame shaped into a fox with black markings. He could see himself using a technique gathering the two opposing aspects of chakra, the yin and yang chakras, and focusing it into a ball form much like the Rasengan, except this time it was launched, and it had a huge destructive power beam that started from wherever the ball hits, ensuring that nothing will be left of the target. Focusing, Naruto tried to emulate the technique gathering the yin and yang chakras, making Yasaka look at Naruto in shock. It was unheard of to combine both yin and yang chakra, and yet here was her son proving it wrong. As Naruto gathered the chakras, he could feel the technique building up in power. Feeling it was charged enough, he launched the attack, making it impact a mountain some distance away. Thinking it wouldn't do much damage, Yasaka watched in horror as the ball hit the moment, creating a beam of pure energy eradicating the mountain that was hit. But the Yasaka couldn't even focus her thoughts from the sheer destructive capacity of the technique. Eventually snapping out of her thoughts, she turned to face Naruto. "Naruto, would you care to explain what that just was?" Yasaka asked Naruto with a sickly sweet tune to her voice. Oh crap, Naruto thought as he felt like running away. Sure, he loved his mother, but she could be as scary as hell. Flashback end. Naruto shuddered at the memory, his body still remembering the pain his mother put him through after performing the technique. He still felt phantom pains from the incident Naruto learned that day. His mother was easily startled, add that whatever startled her received a thrashing. Finally settling down his involuntary shiver, he put the rest of his stuff away. Noticing it was late, he began to cook his dinner. It was a simple dinner of some ramen, hard-boiled eggs and some sake which Yasaka still berated him for drinking at an early age. Naruto had learned to cook for Kunu, especially since Yasaka could sometimes take days at her meetings, making it a necessity for Naruto to learn. The next day. Naruto woke up from the sun hitting his eyes once again, and he proceeded to curse the sun once again as was his way. "Damn sun, I will extinguish you one day," Naruto thought, making all sun gods shiver unconsciously. Eating a heavy breakfast, he then headed out to Kuo Academy, a former all-girls school turned co-ed. Walking towards the front of the school gates, he found that the rumors weren't false after all. The girls were beautiful. He wasn't a pervert, no, he respected them enough for that, but he did have an appreciative eye for beauty, and he liked what he saw. "Excuse me miss, can you show me the way to the student council? I'm a new student here and I don't know my way around yet," Naruto asked a girl as she passed by him. He could sense she was a devil, but he didn't mind at all. He really needed help since he had no idea what to do. This girl was nearly as tall as he was. She had long dark hair and had a pair of blue glasses on her face. She had on the standard Kuo uniform for girls. Looking at Naruto, the girl's cheeks flushed slightly. He was well built and the school uniform only seemed to enhance his charm. "Are those whiskers?" the girl thought to herself. "Of course, please follow me. I'm a member of the student council myself. It'll take you to Sauna Kaichu. My name is Tsubasa Yura. Pleased to meet you, Mr. Yura said, introducing herself to Naruto with a curt nod. "Naruto, just Naruto, we don't use our family name, so we forget it eventually," Naruto said, earning a sweat drop from Yura at his laid-back personality. Who forgets their family name? "I hope your business with Kaichu goes well," Naruto-san, Yura said as she dropped him off at the front of the student council room. Thanks for your help once more Yura-sen, I hope to see you more in the future, Naruto said as he and Yura parted ways. Entering the student council room he noticed it was quite small and there weren't much people in it save for a young woman with short hair wearing glasses and was seated behind a desk doing her paperwork not noticing his presence apparently. Hello Naruto said trying to break the ice. Oh hello my name is Sauna Citri, what is your business here? Sauna asked as she looked up from her pile of paperwork. I'm here to submit my paperwork to you, the principal said that you will be the one to handle things, Naruto said, answering her question as he brought out his papers from his side bag. I see, yes here is your new class schedule, I bid you a good day, Naruto-san Sauna said as she handed a piece of paper to Naruto after she had gone over the papers Naruto had presented to her, after which she went back to signing the papers that were placed on her desk, which seemed larger than when she left it a minute ago, causing her to groan inwardly. Sweat dropping at the sight of the serious girl Naruto left the student council room without saying another word to her. That is class. Excuse me, is this Mr. Hirako's class? Naruto asked a teacher as he entered his assigned room. Yes and you are? The teacher asked Naruto as he turned to face him. Oh I'm the new student I was told to come here Naruto said to the teacher. Class please welcome our new student, please introduce yourself a teacher said as Naruto moved to the front of the class. Good morning my name is Naruto please take care of me, Naruto said with a charming smile, earning him the attention of the female students and the ire of the males at having another pretty boy getting all the attention of all the girls. Just how are they to find a girl to date if pretty boys keep showing up? Please take a seat next to Miss Himejima, the teacher said when Naruto finished introducing himself. Moving over to where he saw the teacher point, Naruto went over to the seat and found his seatmate had possibly the largest bust size he had seen in his life, Akeno's bust size is the biggest in the DxD universe standing at 102 centimeters. Hello you must be new my name is Akeno Himejima welcome to Kuo Akeno introduced herself to Naruto extending her hand to him. Hello to you as well my name is Naruto it's nice to be here, Naruto said as he extended his arm as well and the two exchanged a short handshake. Naruto had sensed fallen angel and devil energies from Akeno as he shook her hand she must be skilled at hiding her energy signature if it took me a handshake to feel it Naruto thought to himself, never knowing that Akeno herself had sensed Naruto's supernatural energies as well, though she wasn't sure from which faction he from tough. The rest of the day went relatively well, except when Naruto had to punish some perverts. He had always hated perverts and had always been cruel to them, especially if it was aimed at his mother or sister, so it really peeved Naruto to no end seeing three young men peeking at a changing area beside the kendo dojo. Feeling mischievous Naruto snuck up on the three and discreetly tied them together with some wire he had on him, making sure that the slightest movement would send the trio tumbling on the ground in confusion. Help, there's a group of pervs over here. Naruto yelled in the girliest voice he could muster, then quickly hid himself and watched the show unfold before him. Hearing the shout the trio decided to cut their losses and run away, but found they were tied together and fell in a crumpled heap. Where the hell did the wire come from? One of the guys asked the others. How should we know? The other guys retorted back. But before any of the three guys could speak they could hear the whapping of wood against flesh coming from behind them. So you're the idiots who decided to peek again huh? The trio heard a voice say from behind them recognizing her as Katsusa, leader of the kendo club. Well let's teach them a lesson, right girls? They heard another voice say and it was from Yurayama, the other leader of the kendo club. Seeing no hope of escape they decided to guard their family jewels as best they could with their arms bound in weird angles. Over the next few minutes cries of horror and pain were mixed with cries of joy from the group. Once the beating was delivered you could see the trio covered in all kinds of bruises from head to toe. Naruto was busy busting his gut at the sight of the trio of perverts being beaten into the ground by a group of angry hormonal schoolgirls. It was times like this that made him happy he was not a pervert and seeing them get beat up brought him some entertainment. Though if he had bothered to look up he would have seen a red-haired girl staring down at him from the building right next to the tree he was hiding in and at her side was Akeno who was laughing at the trio's misfortune as well. Say Akeno you said he felt like a supernatural being right? The red-haired girl asked Akeno who was taking in the pleasure of watching the beating take place. The red-haired girl was Ria's Gremory, the sister to the current Lucifer, as well as heiress to the Gremory clan. I bet you his signature felt unusual though, so I don't know from which faction he is from, Akeno answered, still trembling from the slight euphoria she got from watching the beating. Frankly it was turning her on how sadistic Naruto seemed as well. Is that so? I guess he'll have Kaneko watch over him for now, Ria stated as she left to take a shower. Is but you got interested in him so quickly, but you know I saw him first, so get in line, Akeno said with a giggle and a slight glare which made Ria's flinch slightly. You may be right, he does have a good body, Ria's confessed with her cheek slightly flushing at the thought of Naruto's well-defined body. Well, I'll leave you with your imagination for now, Rias. I have my next class with Naruto after all, Akeno said as she left with a teasing smirk, making Rias jealous at that comment. However, that was not all that was on Rias' mind as she pondered on Naruto's arrival. Is he an ally or an enemy? So many questions surround you, Naruto, Rias, though, as she began to shower. Back to Naruto. It was the end of the day as Naruto had left school already and started to make his way home. Suddenly though, he felt as though someone was following him. He moved around just to make sure he was being followed and went around the city going to malls, feeding ducks at the bridge, heck, he even went to a love hotel. But no matter what he did, he still felt the same person follow him relentlessly. Deciding to put an end to it, he stopped at a park fountain. I know you were there, come out, I can feel you follow me since I left school, Naruto said with a serious voice as he waited for whoever it was to show themselves before him. Not having to wait long, a white-haired girl walked out in front of him wearing the cool uniform for girls. She was really short for her age though, and only came up to his chest level. And you would be? Naruto asked with a raised eyebrow. The girl couldn't be a stalker, could she? His mother had warned him his looks did attract to many females after all. Kaneko Taojo, Kaneko answered in a monotone voice and was devoid of any emotion. Man, chest cold, Naruto thought to himself, and what are you doing following me? Naruto asked, not beating around the bush, seeing her seriousness. But you told me to follow you to your house, Kaneko answered, not seeing any point in lying to him at all. After all, he seemed like he knew what was going on anyway, so why bother at all? Ah, and who is this but you? Naruto asked Kaneko, did he attract one of the other factions already? Rias Gremory is a high-level devil and you're in her territory, so she sent me to investigate, Kaneko answered, making Naruto sweat drop at her answer, proving his theory right. I'm not here to start a fight if that is what you're implying, Naruto said, reassuring the girl. Kaneko gave no visible reaction to that though, so he had no idea what was going through her head. Oh, since you followed me around, do you want to have dinner at my place, my treat, Naruto asked. I'm not going to poison it. Fine, just come if you want to, Naruto said as he turned around to head home. He sensed Kaneko followed him anyway. Finally reaching his house, he let Kaneko in through the door first. He was raised with proper manners after all, as a leader of a faction he had to learn some manners. Here's my house, well, temporary house, Ka-san just rented it for me to live in until I finish high school, Naruto said to Kaneko, closing the door behind him. Kaneko decided not to comment, choosing instead to look around his house at the furniture almost similar to the occult research club room. Well, make yourself at home, I'll cook dinner, Naruto said as he left for the kitchen to prepare a meal for the two of them. Kaneko then sat down on his couch, finding it more comfortable than the couch in the orc. She then proceeded to relax into it, almost falling asleep as soon as she relaxed into the sofa. After what seemed to be a few minutes, Naruto finally came out of the kitchen with dinner. It seemed he prepared some ramen and tea for them. Here you go, Kaneko-chan, Naruto said as he handed a bowl of ramen in front of her. Thanks, Naruto-san, Kaneko said just before she decided to dig in. So what can you tell me about the devils here, Nekoshu-san? Naruto asked, shocking Kaneko at his question. So Kaneko-chan, what can you tell me about the devils in the area? Naruto asked Kaneko as she visibly paled at this point. He knew what she was, and he invited her to his home. Was this a trap of some sort? Kaneko thought as she stared at Naruto with widened eyes. How did? Kaneko asked with a shaky voice as she trembled slightly with nervousness at having been discovered as a yakai which she desperately wanted to hide from everyone. Easy, I am a master of Senjutsu, so I can sense everyone's energy, and yours, Kaneko-chan, is similar to a Nekomata, except it was more potent, so I figure you were a Nekoshu, Naruto said with a reassuring smile, trying to calm Kaneko down, since her feelings of anxiety, shock, and nervousness were quickly entering his empathic range. Hearing this, Kaneko was shocked how one could master Senjutsu without being overtaken by feelings of hatred and destruction, much like her sister before her had. Seeing the look of confusion on Kaneko's face, Naruto figured out what she was confused by and decided to answer her unasked question. You're probably wondering how I mastered Senjutsu, right? Well, to answer your question, at first I tried to do it all by myself, but luckily I was caught by Ka-san before I could do anything. After that she took me to a special place where I could face the hatred within myself so that I won't lose control when I learned Senjutsu. How is having hatred relevant in mastering Senjutsu? Kaneko asked in confusion and disbelief, not having heard this at all from when she was with her older sister, who took her time to tell her how to train in Senjutsu. Having hatred in your heart and mind is what is amplified when using Senjutsu, so to quote Ka-san, she put it like this: bad becomes worse. Good becomes great when using Senjutsu. Ka-san often stressed to me that having bad emotions will overpower you since the world has been neglected by humanity, that masters of Senjutsu will feel that rage, so before learning to use Senjutsu one must purge themselves of their hatred and negative emotions, Naruto answered Kaneko in all seriousness, like his mother taught him to. It wasn't like this was some clan secret or anything. After all, it should have been widespread to all yakai species capable of Senjutsu to know anyway. Hearing this, Kaneko wanted to punch her sister for not having told her anything like that at all, and maybe once more for doing all that crap that followed after, and once more for not coming back for her, and one last to get her pent-up anger out of her system. Damn it, Nissan, why didn't you tell me? Kaneko thought to herself as she now realized why her sister had appeared so carefree all the time. She must have done it to keep calm when she used Senjutsu, but then why didn't she come back for me then? Kaneko was so lost in her thoughts that she didn't notice when Naruto sat down beside her and started petting her head near where her actual ears are. This caused her to release some of her control and caused her cat ears and tail to emerge, much to Naruto's amusement. Suddenly feeling the soft tender touches of Naruto's hands on her head, she leaned her head closer to Naruto's hands, trying to soak up the feeling she was getting. It was so relaxing, washing all her troubles away, making her wish she could stay like this forever. "Are you alright, Kaneko-chan? You zoned out there for a while?" Naruto asked with slight concern laced in his voice as he continued to massage Kaneko's head and ears. "Hi Naruto-senpai," Kaneko said, quickly, wanting nothing more than to enjoy the feel of Naruto's hands on her head, massaging her head and ears, and to her it was all she wanted at the moment. "Well, since you don't seem to want to continue our previous topic, do you want to stay the night, Kaneko-chan?" Naruto asked with mirth, seeing Kaneko acting very much like a cat. Kaneko didn't bother to answer as she was in bliss from the feeling of Naruto's petting. "I'll take that as a yes," Naruto said as he tried to stand up, keyword being tried as Kaneko hung onto his arm tightly that he was unable to move properly at all. "Kaneko-chan, I'm going to prepare a room for you, do you mind letting go of my arm?" Naruto asked Kaneko with a small smile on his face at how similar Kaneko and Kunu were. Both seemed not to want to detach from his arm or move far from him at all. Such a feeling made Naruto feel both right at home and homesick, missing his younger sister who he had to leave in Kyoto. "No," Kaneko answered hastily in her usual monotone voice, slightly angered that Naruto had stopped petting her head. The atmosphere quickly got awkward after that. Seeing no other choice, Naruto offered Kaneko to sleep with him, seeing that the younger girl would not let go of his arm, to which she accepted, albeit a bit nervously. The night went without incident, with Kaneko curling up right next to him like a cat, and Naruto placed his arms around her, making her feel safe and warm for the rest of the night. The next morning when the duo got up just before heading to school, Kaneko promised to introduce him to the orc members. Seeing nothing else to do, the two went to their respective classes. At the end of the day. "Man, that was boring. What kind of fool ever thought of school anyway?" Naruto complained at having to go to school learning things he won't even bother to use later on, since he was just going to take over the position of leader of the Yokai in Kyoto, which was more like a Yakuza gang really. "Naruto-senpai, can you follow me please?" Naruto heard a voice call out to him from behind. Looking behind him, he saw one of the pretty boys of Kuo Kibayudo, a blonde-haired boy with a very chivalrous personality which made women attracted to him. Not much chivalry amongst men these days, you see. "You must be the one Kaneko sent for me, right?" Naruto asked to confirm his suspicion of who the blonde was. "Hi senpai," Kaneko asked Butchu to send me to escort you to the orc, Kiba said with a light smile that had the girls nearby almost fainting at the sight of him. "Look, it's Kiba-san. And Hess hanging out with Naruto-kun. I guess we can call them the great gentlemen of Kuona." Needless to say, with Naruto's distaste of perverts and the way he had interacted with the female population of the school, had gotten himself a fan club. "What do you say we go now, Kiba-san, before they decide to get any braver than just staring at us?" Naruto asked with a little fear in his voice, knowing full well how women acted around him. Once when he was younger and he had gotten separated from his mother, women flocked around him, petting him and touching his cheeks, trying to get him to purr. He was the center of all attention in the area until Yasaka found him and took him away with a little difficulty. Needless to say, Naruto was traumatized from the event. "They're not that bad, senpai," Kiba said as he wore his customary smile while leading Naruto to the orc. "If only you knew, Kiba, if only you knew," Naruto said while shaking his head with a deadpan expression on his face, making Kiba raise an eyebrow at that comment. What can be so bad about a group of women, Kiba wondered, not knowing what they had planned to do to him if they ever got him alone in a room, that is. It was a short walk to the orc, and Naruto could see that it was a nice small building that had mostly European styles of decor. Finally entering the main room, Naruto saw a white patch of hair that could only belong to Kaneko, so he quickly went and greeted her. "Hello Kaneko-chan, how was your day?" Naruto asked as he took a seat and sat down beside her. "I'm fine senpai," Kaneko said as she leaned into him, breathing in his scent, which was ramen and something foresty. I see you met Kaneko already, Butch's queen," Naruto-kun, Akeno said, coming out of an adjacent room with a tray of tea, offering one to Naruto, who accepted it. "I guess I was right, huh? You are a devil, Akeno-san," Naruto said as he drank the tea, which he found was well made, almost comparable to the tea house he frequents. You already knew that and didn't bother to say anything. I might have to punish you later," Naruto-kun, Akeno said seductively with a lick of her lips. Only if we get switch roles then I might consider letting you punish me, Naruto said, making Akeno smile at the obvious S&M quip. Anyway, how is your leader here? Naruto asked in all seriousness since he knew all of them were devils and yet none of them had the aura of a leader. Butchu is having a bath, Naruto-kun, if you want you can join her, I'm sure she won't mind, Akeno answered while placing her hand on her cheek and puffing up her already large breasts with her other hand underneath them. No thanks, maybe later, Naruto answered with a blush, not wanting anyone to know that until he came to Kuo he still bathed with his mother and sister. It was a guilty pleasure for him having someone else bathe with him. Are you sure, Naruto-kun, you look a little flushed, perhaps we can wash your face? Akeno offered as she leaned in close to Naruto, making him blush even more from the proximity of her breasts near his face. Yeah, good tonks for the offer, though, Naruto said, looking away from Akeno to hide his blush from her. Oh well, if you say so, Naruto-kun, but the offer still stands, you can bathe with me anytime you like, Naruto-kun, Akeno said as she moved near the desk in the room. So how long does she usually take, Akeno-san? Naruto asked, trying to see how long he will have to wait. Let it be known Naruto was not known for his patience. But you will be done soon, she doesn't take too long after all, Akeno said, answering Naruto's question. Just as she said that, Naruto saw a red-headed female enter the room. She was dressed in the female uniform for Kuo students and her red hair was a shade or two darker than his, closer to the color of freshly spilled blood. Ah, I see you're here already, Naruto-san, I was wondering when you would arrive, Naruto heard the redhead address him. Sorry I made you wait, miss. Naruto said, scratching the back of his neck. Make her wait. He was the one waiting for her. It's no problem at all, Rias Gremory, the king of this peerage and heir to the house of Gremory. Rias introduced herself to Naruto. I see, well then I guess I should introduce myself properly as well. Naruto, heir to the title of the leader of the Yokai faction in Kyoto, Naruto stated with an air of pride around him. Yokai? I never expected to see one this far out of Kyoto, Rias said in confusion. Her brother said they mostly stayed in Kyoto and other regions where they had gathered. Yes, I guess you won't see another yokai out of gathering areas. You see my cause and wanted me to experience what it's like to be with around humans, so she sent me here, though that may be due to Nii-san's suggestion, Naruto said offhandedly, making Rias nod at his explanation. I see, well now that you're here I guess I don't have to explain the factions to you, right? Rias asked. Yep, knew about it my whole life, Naruto said as he sipped some more tea. Well then, will you please join my peerage, Naruto-san? Rias asked, hoping he would accept. He would be a big help getting her out of her marriage contract. Having a yokai on her side would surely tip the scales in her favor. I'm sorry, but I will have to decline. You see my goals don't match with being a devil, so I will say no, and if you pressure me I will fight my way out, Naruto replied with a small threat to ensure his safety, and for added measure, he added a bit of killing intent to his words. I see, well I'll respect your wishes, though I still wish you joined my peerage, Rias said dejectedly, slightly put off by Naruto's killing intent. So I guess I'll make you a deal. I will agree to help you out as much as you need in exchange. I will also ask some favors from you. Is that acceptable, Naruto said. Making a deals with a devil was one of the things Naruto had learned from his mother and Nii-chan. Agreed, as long as you don't ask anything that will go against what I wasn't. We have a deal. It will be nice working with you, Naruto-san, Rias said, extending a hand towards Naruto, who accepted it. Well, off, tell me if you need anything else, Naruto said as he left the room with Kaneko in tow, shocking everyone at how close she was with Naruto. Are you coming with me again, Kaneko-chan? Naruto asked, receiving a nod from Kaneko, who just clung to his arm. It's just one of those days, I guess, Naruto thought to himself as he went home with Kaneko following him. It has been a week since Naruto had been accepted into the orc, even if he did not join Rias' peerage, so he was a member, simply because he was a supernatural being. Today here we find the members of the orc doing whatever it is they do when not completing contracts or training in their skills. Hibba was sitting by himself on one of the couches, cleaning his swords with a rag that looks like it has seen better days than this. Akeno was off in one corner of the room, seemingly watching over everyone like a mother hen would her chicks, with one arm beneath her impressive bust and another covering her mouth. Naruto was seated on the other couch petting Kaneko as he always did. You see, after meeting the orc the two had become almost inseparable. Kaneko could be found clinging to Naruto's armor, sitting on his lap while eating sweets while he pets her head, which is what she was doing now. Rias on the other hand was nowhere to be seen in the room, apparently having left everyone to their own devices for today. Say, Akeno, where's Rias? Isn't she supposed to be doing her paperwork or something? Naruto asked Akeno. He was bored out of his mind. The only thing keeping him from totally losing it was the fact he was petting Kaneko, which was practically a stress reliever for him. I'm not sure, why do you miss her already? I'm sure I can fill her space for you, Akeno said in her usual voice with a small smile on her face, making Naruto confused whether she was serious or just teasing him. I see, well what do you guys usually do when Rias is gone? Naruto asked Rias' peerage. Well you see senpai, we just do what we normally do, I clean my swords, Akeno stands around waiting for Butchu, and Kaneko just eats, Kiba said with a smile explaining to Naruto. Before Naruto could ask another question, Rias came bursting through the doors of the main room, a smile marking her face. I have some news. I found another person I could add to my peerage. Rias said with a smile and a hop in her step, obviously happy at the prospect of gaining a new member to her peerage. Who is it Butchu? Akeno asked as she took her place behind Rias, who sat on her desk. Ayato Issei, Rias said with a straight face, waiting for the imminent reaction from one of her club members. That pervert. What the hell did he do to get your attention? Naruto said, slightly irritated that a pervert had managed to impress Rias enough to add him to her peerage ranks. It was not that he hated someone to join Rias' peerage, but rather the fact he was a pervert did not sit well with Naruto at all. Ara is Foxy jealous has being replaced. It's okay if Butchu replaces you, I will take you myself, Akeno said in definite teasing tone. Hell no. I hate perverts, they should just vanish, Naruto said with a huff. Well, your opinions of him aside, he carries a sacred gear within him, which is why I want him for my peerage, Rias explained to Naruto, which calmed him a bit though not much. Fine, but I still hate him, Naruto said as he forced himself to relax. It wouldn't do him good to get riled up, he had to watch his temper after all. Well, you don't have to like him anyway, it's not like you'll be seeing him all the time, Rias stated to Naruto, who had to agree with her. Fine, but if you wanted him for your peerage, where is he now? Naruto asked with a raised eyebrow as he looked at her. On a date with a fallen angel, Rias said, hoping Naruto won't overreact to this piece of information. What? That can't be right, what did he do? He hypnotized her or something? Naruto asked in disbelief, no way that an open pervert like him would get asked out by a girl without blackmail material, unless the girl was a pervert as well. Well, it's true, here's a photo if you want to see, Rias said as she then handed him a photograph of Issei and a young woman with black hair who looked familiar to Naruto. Rainer? What the hell is she doing here in Kuo? Naruto asked, no one in particular getting a raised eyebrow from everyone at the fact that he seemed to know the fallen angel who was with Issei. You know her, senpai? Kiba asked, being the first to recover from his shock. Yeah, she used to hang around in Kyoto for a while with some other fallen angels. I met her along with Azazel in Kyoto during a treaty meeting Ka-san brought me to, Naruto explained where he had seen Rainer before. The treaty meeting? So does that mean that the fallen angels and Yakai have allied together? Rias asked with a hint of fear in her voice, especially if Yakai and fallen angels have allied, then it could spell the end for devils. No, don't worry your skirt off, it's just to ensure the ceasefire lasts, and we the Yakai faction don't take advantage of it, Naruto said, calming Rias down. So what were you doing in a treaty meeting anyway? Rias asked in confusion at what Naruto had been doing there in the first place. Didn't I say it already? I'm going to become the leader of the Yakai faction in Kyoto, so I have to join these meetings so I can learn some politics from Ka-san, Naruto explained. Sighing in resignation, Rias decided to settle this matter before her head overloaded from shock she had just received. Since you seem to know her, do you mind watching over Issei then? Rias asked Naruto. Fine, but if he does anything perverted to Rainer, then I'm kicking his ass, Naruto said as he left the room to look for the pervert and make sure he doesn't step over his bounds. As soon as he left, the peerage of Rias could now finally process their collective shock together. So senpai knows the fallen angels leader and some members, huh? Kiba said out loud to no one in particular. So it seems, Akeno said in a monotone voice, her mood having gone sour when fallen angels were mentioned. Well, I guess it makes it easier for us to find out what they're doing in my territory then, Rias said as she began to formulate a plan to perhaps get some new members for her peerage, if not then at least drive away the fallen angels who have invaded her territory. With Naruto. Just where would the pervert go with Rainer? Naruto thought as he searched all over the park and its surrounding malls. Almost giving up hope, he finally saw them by the water fountain in the middle of the park talking to each other. So the pervert at least knows where to bring a girl at the very least, Naruto thought to himself as he approached them discreetly. When he got close enough, he hid himself just nearby to overhear what they were saying to each other. Please die for me, Naruto heard Rainer say to Issei as she transformed into her usual appearance, which was reminiscent of a bondage mistress outfit. Huh? It seemed even in the face of death, Issei would be both a pervert and an idiot, as his brain seemed to choose to ogle Rainer's breasts rather than run away. After hearing this, he saw Rainer stab a spear of light through Issei, which did not concern him at all, since he knew that Rias can resurrect him with her evil pieces. Deciding to step out into the open, he confronted Rainer. Rainer, what are you doing with that pervert? Naruto asked Rainer. Hearing a familiar voice behind her, Rainer turned around to hear someone speak to her. Naruto, is that you? Rainer asked as it had been quite a while since the two last met Tajitor. Yes, it is me, it's been a while, Hare-chan, Naruto said, offering her his foxy smile. Yes, it is, Rainer said as she hugged Naruto tightly. So what are you doing here, Rainer? Naruto asked once again as he separated from the hug. Oh, Kakabiel-sama told us that Azazel-sama wanted us to remove potential sacred gear users from play so as not to be used by our enemies, Reiner explained to Naruto what she was doing in Kuo. What? But aren't you aware that Kakabiel just recently broke off from the Grigori? Naruto asked in shock at his friend being duped by Kakabiel. Punishments were usually severe amongst the Grigori. What no th that can't be, we saw him in the Grigori headquarters recently, Reiner said in denial. I'm sorry, but it's true. Kasan just told me recently that he has defected from the Grigori. She told me just before I came to Kuo, Naruto said as he hammered the last nail in. Reiner just stood there in shock at being duped by Kakabiel at the reward of having a higher rank. Now she had disobeyed Azazel's peaceful beliefs and was sure to be punished for it. Seeing the state of his friend, Naruto brought her in for a hug which brought out the tears Reiner was holding in. Please help me, Naruto-kun, I can't go back now, especially if I have to report this back to Azazel, Reiner said in between sobs. Of course Ray-chan, I always help my friends, Naruto said as he pat her back trying to calm her down. Now is there anyone else with you? Naruto asked as Reiner calmed down. Yeah, Kalorner and Middlet is here with me, Reiner said wiping the last tears from her eyes. I see, why don't you get them and meet me here, I'll wait for you guys, there's more than enough space at my place to host you. 3 Naruto offered to Reiner, knowing the three were just roughing it at the local church which was run down, that can't be good for their backs. Okay, I'll be back, Naru-kun, Reiner said as she took off to fetch Kalorner and Middlet. Ara, that was rather interesting, don't you say? Naruto heard Akeno say from beside him near his ear, causing him to jump back in fright from the sudden closeness. Damn it, woman, stop startling me. Naruto said rather loudly, trying to calm his shocked nerves. Ara, did I scare Foxy? My, maybe I could make it up to you. Akeno said rather suggestively while walking towards him in a rather suggestive manner. Akeno. That's enough, help me get Issei ready for the ritual, Naruto heard Ria say looking around. He saw her right beside Issei holding up a few pawn pieces. Oh, when I was getting to Foxy already, Akeno said in a teasing voice as she walked beside Ria's as they began the ritual. In the end, it took 8 pawn pieces to revive Issei, and Ria's ordered Akeno to bring him home for her while she talked with Naruto for a while. So what are the Fallen doing here? Ria's asked Naruto expectantly. It seems they were duped by one of the former members, Kakabiel. He tricked them into killing Issei for him, Naruto said. I see, and what will they do now? Ria's asked, not sure what this meant since she could not take any action against them now, while filing away the information that Kakabiel was now rogue to tell to her brother at a later time. They're going to stay with me until Kasan and I can ensure that they will not come to harm should they return to the Grigori, Naruto answered. Why are you doing that for them? Ria's asked, and she was shocked at how it seemed that Naruto was friendly to the fallen angels. It's because they're my friends and I look out for my friends, Naruto explained as he sat down on the bench to wait for Reiner and her group. So I very well, I'll see you tomorrow, bring the fallen angels with you, Ria said as she left via magic circle teleportation. I guess this means I'll have to ask Kasan for help, Naruto said to no one in particular as he rubbed his temples in foreboding of a headache sure to come when he asked for his mother's help. It was not that it was hard to ask or anything, rather Yusaka spoiled Naruto and Kunu both with what they asked, it's just that she often asked them to do something for her in return, like massages, cooking for her, doing her groceries, seems menial, right? However, she recently got into cosplaying and loved to see them around Kyoto, so her favors would now include dressing Naruto and Kunu up in embarrassing costumes. I just hope Kasan won't make me cross-dress this time, Naruto thought as he shivered in remembrance of that costume Yusaka forced him to wear. She still had blackmail material from that time. Naruto-kun, we're here, Reiner said as she arrived with Kaloriner and Middlet accompanying her. Well then, come on, Naruto said with a smile as he led the 3 fallen angels to his home. Here we are, you can choose any room you want, Naruto said as they arrived at the house he was using. Very well, Naruto-kun, the 3 fallen angels ate at the same time, sporting similar mischievous smiles. Why do I get the feeling this won't end good for me, Naruto thought to himself. We'll be sleeping with you then, the 3 said, getting a sweat drop from Naruto. Thought so, Naruto thought. Very well, let's get to sleep, Hara-chan, Kala-chan, Mit-chan, Naruto said as they followed him up the stairs to his room. It's gonna be a long night, Naruto thought before he fell asleep, feeling the 3 press their bodies against him. It was early morning when Naruto awoke, when he received the shock of his life. Somehow in the middle of the night the trio's clothing had come undone, and now Naruto was staring at the bare breasts of both Reiner and Kalorner. As for Middlet, well, let's just say it will be a while before she can flash him anything of value anyway. Trying to find a way out of his bed, Naruto tried to squirm his way out, which only made things worse. Kaloriner felt him moving and hugged him tighter. Reiner somehow moved along with Naruto, and his head was now situated alongside Reiner's breasts. Damn, how did I get in this mess? Naruto thought to himself as he hoped none of the 3 fallen angels would feel his growing arousal at the sight of them. Luckily or unluckily for him, they had woken up at that moment. "Good morning Naruto-kun," Kalorina greeted as she rubbed the drowsiness out of her eyes, unknowingly giving Naruto a full view of her breasts and her cherry red nipples as the shirt she wore slid of her shoulders and onto the bed. "Good morning Naruto-kun," Reiner said as she hugged Naruto's head closer to her breast while rubbing her eyes. Naruto noted that the valley between her breasts smelled sweet, making him blush and his arousal grow even bigger. "Good morning," Midelt said as she stretched out her arms to relieve the stiffness from them. "Good morning you three, would you mind moving so we can get dressed?" Naruto greeted the three with a blush on his face with such a color that would make tomatoes jealous. "And why would we move, we like it here," Kalorina said as she laid down on Naruto's chest, giving him another view of her breasts, while Kalorina grinned seductively at him. Not trusting himself to say anything, all he could do was look away from Kalorina and right into Reiner's breast. Her nipple was a shade lighter than Kalorina's, which was a bad idea at the moment. My what is this Naruto-kun? "I can feel something hard in your pants," Reiner stated as she brought her hand to cup his crotch, stroking what lay underneath, stimulating Naruto, further causing his blush to darken some more. Unable to tolerate any more teasing, he quickly jumped from the bed, luckily not knocking anyone over. "Alright, that's enough of that, I'm going to get dressed and get breakfast ready," Naruto said as he quickly left the room with a growing blush on his face, causing the trio of fallen angels to laugh at his expression. "Well, what do we do now? We can't stay here forever." Kalorina asked the other two, knowing they can't keep feeding of Naruto's generosity. It was just wrong of them to keep freeloading off of him forever. "Well, we could always ask his mother for a deal," Midelt offered, knowing that their relationship to Naruto would aid them in securing Yasaka's aid. "There is that, but I would rather wait for another option before we resort to that," Reiner said, not wanting to mooch of their closeness to Naruto. "Fine, let's get dressed, it's been a while since we've had Naruto's cooking, we'll think of something eventually," Kalorina stated as she went to get dressed. Seeing no other options to do at the moment, they took Kalorina's lead and got dressed before heading down to eat with Naruto. Breakfast went well, with Naruto giving them their schedule for the day, which was shopping for new clothes for Kalorina and Reiner, since they did not have anything to wear in public, after which they would then head for the Orc for a chat with Rias. Clothes shopping. The trio had literally dragged Naruto everywhere trying on new outfits and whatnot, but the main event was when the trio had to get new lingerie for themselves. "Come on Naruto, just a few pairs and we're done," Reiner said as she pushed Naruto into the store with Kalorina and Midlet helping her by pulling Naruto in. Finally, they succeeded in getting Naruto to sit down in the waiting room in front of the dressing area, which caught the eyes of many a customer. After waiting for about 10 minutes, the three came out in only their undergarments, which accentuated their breasts and hips, making Naruto blush somewhat. "So what do you think?" Reiner said as she flashed Naruto her outfit, which was a dark blue bra, which looked a size or two too small for her, with a similar colored thong which barely covered anything. Kalorina was in a purple bustier with a matching colored boy shorts which fit her shapely bottom. Midelt, it seemed, was still choosing what to get. "It looks good on you," Naruto said, complimenting their choices before averting his stare elsewhere. "Why Naruto, don't you enjoy the view?" Kalorina asked as she sat beside Naruto, rubbing his thigh with her hand, giving him a view of her cleavage when he looked in her direction. "I'll wait outside," Naruto said as he moved to leave the lingerie shop with a huge blush on his face, making women giggle at his blushing expression, while the men glared at him in jealousy at having all the luck in the world, it seemed. "Fine, but leave your card with us," Reiner said as she extended her arm to receive Naruto's credit card, which was nearly unlimited and all their shopping barely made a dent in it. Exiting the shop, Naruto went and sat outside the shop, still sporting a blush which was lessening by the minute. Those three can really rile me up far too much for comfort, but that's just the way I like it," Naruto thought as he waited for the trio. It was normal for this to happen to Naruto whenever the trio was around. They did this every single time they came to visit him, and Yasaka accompanying Azazel under the pretense of being his bodyguards for a new agreement or deal. Finally getting what they needed, the trio left store with Naruto waiting outside to drop of their new clothes at Naruto's place before heading to the Orc. At the Orc. "Yeah, finally arrived Naruto," Rias commented as she noticed Naruto enter the room with the three fallen angels in tow. "Boy. Don't go addressing Naruto-sama so casually, devil," Midelt said, rather angry at the nonchalant way they had greeted Naruto. "It's okay Midelt, they're my friends as well," Naruto said, placing a hand on Midlet's shoulder, placating her anger. "My see how we're getting more political favor," Naruto, Kalorina said as she took notice of the Gremory heiress in the room. "Not really, I'm just making sure that my interests are well looked after," Naruto explained to Kalorina as he took seat in the coach with Kaneko sitting on his lap, earning a glare from the fallen angels who wanted to do the same thing as well. To add fuel to the fire, Kaneko noticed this and stuck her tongue out at them before relaxing into Naruto's body. "Well, moving on to business, I have to ask you three, what are your intentions now, since Naruto has told me you were tricked by Kakabiel?" Rias asked, addressing the three fallen angels. Well, for one, we have to make some sort of deal with Naruto or his mother Lady Asaka for protection, but other than that we have no intention of causing trouble for you, Rainer said, answered Ria's question. Lady Asaka? Kiba asked, confused. He was not familiar with the name at all. She's my mother, the current leader of Yokai faction in Kyoto. Naruto answered Kiba's question, who gave a nod of understanding. So where's the perv? I thought he was a devil now, Naruto asked, not having seen Issei anywhere in the room since he arrived. Well, we haven't exactly told him yet, Ria said sheepishly while scratching her cheek nervously. The recent events had distracted her from getting her new pawn in her peerage properly introduced to them. I see. Well, if that's all the questions you have, well, be off, Naruto said as he motioned the three fallen angels to follow him, only for him to suddenly stop when he felt a tug on his sleeve. Naruto looked down, seeing Kaneko holding his sleeve. Can I come with you? Kaneko asked, making the cutest face anyone had seen. It was like a begging cat, eliciting different reactions from everyone. Rias and her peerage were shocked to say the least. This was the most emotion they had seen her show anyone, and he was not even a part of her peerage. The fallen angels themselves were about to tell Naruto to bring her along because she looked like she was close to tears already. Besides, they could use some company. They were not those fallen angels who hated devils just because they were from another faction. Naruto himself already folded to her pouting kitten face, and so he gave her a piggyback ride, though as he was about to exit the orc building, the group felt a familiar energy spike in the direction of the park. I sense a fallen angel. Is there anyone else who followed you? Naruto asked his companions. No one came with us, though this energy is no doubt Donashik, an. Donut guy, he probably followed us on Kakabiel's orders, Kalarner said, realizing that Donashik must have been trailing them from the beginning since they got to Kuo. Well then, let's go get him, Naruto said as he channeled some chakra into his feet and ran at breakneck speeds towards the park with Kaneko clinging onto his back. The fallen angels spread their wings and chased after Naruto, while the devils who felt the energy surge as well left via magic circle, both parties chasing after Naruto. Naruto and Kaneko arrived at the park first, and they saw Issei lying on the ground with a hole in his chest with a fallen angel hovering over him. Are you Donashik? Naruto asked the fallen angel as he let Kaneko off of his back. Yes, I am, and what of it? Donashik answered boastfully. Well, you see, you have been causing problems here, and now I have to take care of it, Naruto said as he prepared to confront Donashik. As if you could land a hit on me, weakling. At the state you are now, it will take you 1,000 years to land a single hit on me, Donashik said as he launched a light spear towards Naruto, who easily dodged the spear. What the Donashik said as he saw Naruto dodge his light spear. He sensed no magical power from Naruto. How was he able to dodge his spear? My turn, Naruto said as red flames gathered on his outstretched arm, focusing on a single point on his palm, forming a small orb of condensed flames. Kino-Bu Flame Orb. Naruto said the name of the attack as the flame orb launched from his hand and struck Donashik. It caused a small explosion which engulfed Donashik's body completely. As the cloud from the explosion cleared, Naruto saw that his attack was somehow weakened before it reached Donashik, seeing as he only has heavy burns on his arms when it should have incinerated his arms completely. You damn punk, if I was any slower raising a light shield I would have died from that attack, Donashik yelled in anger and pain as he took off into the night sky to where Naruto couldn't tell, as his energy was once again masked from his senses. Damn it, he got away, Naruto said as he went to check on Issei, only to find Kaneko already there checking on Issei's injuries. Is he gonna be alright, Kaneko-chan? Naruto asked as he approached them. Hi senpai, Kaneko said as she went back to Naruto's side as the two waited for the others to arrive, and within a few seconds the fallen angels and Rias peerage had finally arrived to find Naruto and Kaneko waiting for them with a knocked out Issei. Where's the fallen angel, Naruto? Rias asked, looking for the fallen angel she sensed from the club room. He got away, Naruto replied, feeling irritable. He let him get away. Ara, was he that strong? Akeno asked as she glomped Naruto from behind, pressing her assets on his back. Not really, all he had going for him was a stick up his ass and really fast flying skills, Naruto replied with a small blush tinting his cheeks from feeling Akeno's assets on his back. Well, now that that's done, him off to bed, Naruto said, walking away with Kaneko, Akeno and the fallen angels in tow. Wait, Naruto. I'm coming too, Kiba, please take Issei home and give him some first aid, Rias ordered Kiba as she followed after Naruto. All Kiba could do was sweat drop. He had just gotten here, then all of a sudden all the females leave with Naruto, and now he had to get Issei home and heal him as well. What was he, a doormat? Though an order is an order, so begrudgingly Kiba took Issei and left for the perverted boys' home, leaving Naruto with the girls. I got a feeling I need to get a bigger bed, a much bigger bed, and soon, Naruto thought to himself as the girls followed him to his house. It has been a week since the orc plus the fallen angel trio had heard anything from Donashik. Frankly, it was worrying them. Luckily, they had a distraction ever since Naruto's mother had learned of the fallen angel staying with her son. She made a deal with them which amused everyone except Akeno, who still hasn't gotten over her hate for fallen angels who had become Naruto's servants. Flashback. The orc and the fallen angels were lounging around in the orc doing nothing productive. It seemed O has gotten a contract in a few days. Riaz and Naruto were playing chess with Akeno watching them. Haneko was seated with Mitlet eating sweets. It seemed the two lowly-like girls had a sweet tooth and had bonded over it. Hiba was cleaning his blade as usual. Lonely guy, he should get himself something else to do without a double meaning. Halorner and Rainer were reading fashion magazines on one couch. It all seemed to be going like a slow day until Naruto received a call on his phone distracting everyone from the monotony of the day. Yeah, who is it? Oh, it's you, Ka-san, what do you want? Alright, no need to make a fuss. Yeah, they're here with me, why? Wait. You want me to what? Fine, just get the old bastard of their case and we have a deal. Okay, see you later, Ka-san, say hi to Kunu for me. As Naruto hung up the phone, he saw everyone looking at him incredulously with wide curious eyes. What, haven't you seen a guy's mom call him before? Naruto asked the group, who had the decency to look sheepish. Not really, Naruto-kun, so what was the call about? Riaz asked curiously. You could practically feel her curiosity as if it were an aura that seeped into the air. Well, it seems Azazel has found about the fallen angels here in Kuo, Naruto started to say before he was cut off by shock from the three fallen angels who had a look of fear written on their features. What? Are we being punished? Rainer voiced the shock and concern of the fallen angels. Azazel? The leader of the fallen angel faction, that Azazel. Riaz voiced the shock of her peerage. She had no idea Naruto was actually well connected, that he even knew the leader of the fallen angel faction. Yes, it seems that Ka-san knew what I was going to ask her, so she made a deal with Azazel for me, and in exchange for no punishment delivered to you guys you will now be my subordinates, Naruto said to the fallen angels, answering Riaz's question, earning a raised eyebrow from Riaz at his answer. Well, it's not that bad if you're our master, Kalorner said as she moved towards Naruto. Yeah, you're the best one for us to serve, Middle said as she moved towards him as well. Naruto-kun, can you tell me how you're connected to Azazel? Riaz asked, since no normal person even in the supernatural world had that much connection to another faction. Well, maybe except for her brother and the other Mao perhaps. Well, it's because Kyoto is the center for a lot of supernatural activity, so we are mediators in the area as well as its leader, Naruto explained to the group, getting nods of confirmation from the fallen angels who have been there many times. What duties do you perform exactly, Naruto-senpai? Kiba asked. I have many duties, such as maintaining peace in the area as not to violate the ceasefire agreement. Another duty is meeting the delegates, so I have personally met with Azazel, Michael, Gabriel, Serafal, and Surziches, Naruto answered back, earning a shock from Riaz's peerage at all the people Naruto had met, none more so than Riaz. You met Surziches on Isama? Riaz asked in shock, she had never heard of this from her brother before. You're his sister? Now that you mention it, you do look like him a bit, Naruto stated as he looked closely at Riaz, observing their similarities. What was Ani-sama doing in Kyoto? Riaz had to ask who knew what kinds of things he had gotten into in Kyoto. He was setting up a hotel, last I checked, with Ka-san getting 25% of their earnings, Naruto said, proud of his mother's deal with Surziches. Oh, and one more thing, Naruto-kun, what do you mean by they will be your subordinates? Riaz asked as she crossed her fingers in front of her face, giving her a serious look. Oh, it means exactly that they are now my subordinates, Naruto answered Riaz in an equally serious tone. And how does that work? Riaz pressed for more information. I guess I can show you, though keep in mind this is still experimental, Rainer if you would, Naruto said as he gestured for Rainer to approach him. Everyone watched in rapt attention as Naruto approached Rainer as well. He opened his mouth to reveal his canines have lengthened much like a fox's own, and just as they saw him open his mouth, he clamped down in Rainer's neck, eliciting a moan from the girl. They stayed like this for a few minutes before they separated, a trail of saliva connecting the two where they met. Looking at Rainer, they saw no difference at all. Was that it? What was that supposed to do? Riaz asked, confused by his actions, only to gasp when she saw that Rainer's eyes had changed shape into slitted eyes much like of a fox, and a fox tattoo appeared where he bit her. It was designed like a fox coiling around itself. This is a research that is in progress where we the Kitsune clan mark our friends or lovers. It almost has the same effects of the evil P system, but still slightly weaker, but is the only means for us to acquire members to work for us. Naruto explained the means by how he got the fallen angel trio to work for him. Wait. So does this mean you can expand the Yokai faction? Riaz asked worriedly. Basically yes, as only a few races can do this at the moment, but soon enough we should find a way for it to apply to all Yokai of high enough rank and status, Naruto explained, as he then proceeded to mark Kalorner and Middle as well. Flashback end. Needless to say that Riaz has been shocked by this development, and from what she remembered of his explanation, there seemed to be no limit as to how many servants Naruto could get. It sent her into a state of depression for a while, but she snapped out of it when she realized Naruto still had a deal with her anyway, and it seemed he wasn't interested in war anyway. Now back in the Orc clubroom you can see the escalating tempers and arguments of the women since Naruto had to repay the favor to his mother by cosplaying for her once again and took the train back to Kyoto to repay his mother, so he left his servants with the Orc. Kiba had taken Issei out to train with him in his new devil powers, thus leaving all the girls together in one room. "So how long have you known Naruto-kun?" Rias asked the fallen angels. Both herself along with Akeno and Kaneko were curious as to the answer. The devils were seated on one couch, while the fallen angels were seated on the couch across from it. "I have met Naruto-sama when he was a boy. Kalarnar met him 5 years ago, while Mitlet just met him a year ago," Rainer answered for them. Ara, if your deal was to serve Naruto, how did you end up staying behind? You didn't lose him, did you?" Akeno said with a little venom in her voice, still trying to decide what to make of the fallen angels, plus she was still deciding what to do about Naruto's offer to her. Flashback. "Akeno-chan, I know about your history and who your parents are, but don't you think it's time to let that hate go?" Naruto asked Akeno when he had gotten some alone time with her. They were currently alone in the Orc room by themselves. Ara, what is Kitsune-kun talking about?" Akeno said, trying to feign ignorance. "Akeno, please, I don't want my friends and potential mates to fight amongst themselves," Naruto said sadly. "I don't see how it's any of your concern. I will deal with the fallen angels how I like. I merely tolerate them because they hang around near you," Akeno said, losing all pretense of happiness, her face showing a visage of anger and sadness mixed into one. "Sai, how about this? I can try to get Barakiel to talk to you," Naruto started to say before he was cut off. "Don't you dare say his name to me," Akeno said angrily. "Sai, very well, but my deal is open to you, Akeno-chan, and if you ever want to talk about it, I'm always here," Naruto said as he walked away, saddened by Akeno's reaction. Flashback end. "Naruto-sama told us to stay here himself," Kalarnar said with a sigh. "So what is with the way he treats you as well as us?" Rias asked in confusion since Naruto usually acted like he was courting them all at the same time, as if he were building a harem or something. You're referring to Naruto-sama's actions, right? "Well, it because Hesa Kitsune and he is acting like his is courting us because he is courting us," Rainer said. "What? But how can that be? Is he a pervert himself?" Rias asked, earning a glare from everyone else calling him a pervert. "No, Naruto-sama is not a pervert, but rather a polygamist. Shouldn't this excite you?" Kalarnar asked, confused. "Weren't devils the most open about harems and the like?" "Maybe, but the only time I have seen a harem was for perverts, so how is Naruto's different from that?" Rias replied, still confused as to Naruto's actions. "It's that he can marry all of us officially, though he will have to choose one of us to be his alpha female," Rainer replied for her, quenching Rias' doubt somewhat. Any other conversation was halted when they heard someone enter the room. They saw Issei and Kiba enter the room, though Kiba was supporting Issei. "Hello Butchu, I just finished training Issei a bit," Kiba said with a slight sweat drop. Issei had collapsed after a light workout. Issei rubbed the back of his head in embarrassment at this point. "Kiba, have you seen Naruto-kun yet?" Rias asked. I saw him near the train station earlier just before I came here," Kiba said as he sat down beside Kaneko. "I see. Well, Issei, can you fetch Naruto-kun and tell him we are have a meeting," Rias ordered Issei. But he doesn't seem to like me too well," Issei said, trying to get out of his task. "If you get him I might reward you later," Rias said with a sultry smile on her face. Issei, getting all kinds of thoughts in his head at Rias' reward, began to walk to the door with his perverted grin plastered on his face. "Pervert," Kaneko said bluntly, causing Issei to go into a fit of depression as he exited the door to look for Naruto. Near the park. Issei had finally found Naruto near the train station with a few bags in his hand. "Senpai, Rias Butchu told me to tell you that we have a meeting and that you should join us," Issei said to Naruto in a rather loud voice. "I'm right here, I see no need to shout," Naruto said to Issei in an annoyed tone. Just as they were about to head to the Orc, someone bumped into Issei from behind, knocking him into the ground. "Oh, they heard a person say." Looking behind, they saw a young girl in a nun's outfit rubbing her head while the contents of her suitcase littered the ground. Seeing this, Naruto trembled in a little fear, remembering his past experiences with nuns. Flashback. "Naruto, please behave yourself with the sister while I do the groceries," Yusaka asked a 5-year-old Naruto as she asked a nun to watch over him and Kunu for a while. "Hi, Ka-san," Naruto said as he went to his room with Kunu in tow. As soon as Yusaka left, the nun brought out a light sword she hid in her dress. "Naruto-kun, can you come here for a while?" the nun asked in a pleasant manner, hiding her true intentions. Humming, Naruto replied as he moved towards the nun. As soon as he entered the range of the nun, she immediately moved to cut him in two. If it weren't for his natural instincts, Naruto would have died instead of receiving a deep cut to his chest. "Help! Help!" Naruto yelled out as he clutched his bleeding chest. "No one's going to help you now, demon," the nun said as she raised her sword overhead, preparing to slash him in half. Closing his eyes, Naruto prepared for the end, though after nothing happened for a few seconds he opened his eyes, only to see the nun frozen in a block of ice. Flashback end. Ever since that incident, Yasaka expelled all priests and nuns from Kyoto, causing a slight rift between the fanatical church and the Yokai faction. They were still on good terms with the angels who were unaware of the incident, though from it, Naruto became very wary of nuns and priests. Flashing out of his thoughts, Naruto saw Issei helping the nun even if he was a devil. Man, how am I gonna explain this to Rias, and what the hell is the church doing here? Naruto thought to himself. It had just been a few minutes after Issei had parted ways with Asia after dropping her off near the church, thus here he was now in this situation where he was now being royally chewed out by Rias for going near the church when he was a devil. Issei, listen to me. You can't go near the church or that nun again, do you understand me? Rias said to Issei sternly. Her hands were on her hips, showing how serious she was at this point, though it seemed to have skipped past Issei's attention. What? But you, why not, as a kind person? Issei asked desperately in fear of losing his new friend in the nun. She was one of the few people who did not see him as a total pervert. This is a precious and rare commodity in his life. Issei, I understand that you are attached to her, but we're devils, the enemies of the church. If you were to approach the church you might be struck dead by an angel for even going near it. Also, associating with members of the church is not allowed to keep peace within the three warring factions, Ria said, not budging on her stand. She had to explain to Issei how dire the circumstances were. Hearing this, all Issei could do was bow his head in embarrassment and slight anger. He didn't want to oppose Rias, but at the same time he didn't want to lose his new friend. Seeing this, Rias brought him out of his thoughts by placing a hand on his shoulder, comforting him somewhat. I'm sorry, Issei, but please understand, I just don't want anyone in my peerage to get hurt, Rias said, offering a small smile to Issei, which he returned. But Naruto. Naruto-sama, I heard from Rias and you encountered a nun, are you alright? Rainer asked Naruto, having heard of his fear of nuns and priests from when she was with him in Kyoto. This caught the attention of everyone in the Orc Lounge, which was everybody except for Rias and Issei, who were elsewhere at the moment. Yeah, I'm fine, it's just been a while since I've seen one in person, it shocked me, that's all, Naruto answered back while leaning back on the couch while petting Kaneko's head, getting a few purrs from the small girl as she relaxed against his chest. That's good to hear, especially with your slight trauma of that incident when you were younger, Cal Arner commented, genuinely relieved that Naruto didn't go into a panic attack or something. What incident? Akeno asked in full seriousness. It's nothing, it's just that when I was a child I was nearly killed by a nun if I wasn't saved in time, Naruto answered simply. He didn't believe in the need to cry out his life story or whatever, he just simply treated it as it is a memory in the past. Really, I never would have thought something like that happened to you, Naruto-kun, Akeno said as she pressed her breasts against Naruto's back while hugging his neck, irritating Kaneko because her actions caused Naruto to stop petting her. Well, you know what they say, live and learn, Naruto said as he relaxed into Akeno's bust, seeing as she won't back of any time soon he might as well enjoy it. Say, Naruto-sama, do you mind if you can train me and Cal Arner? We want to increase our sets of wings to serve you better, Rainer asked out of the blue. It had been a while since she last trained and she was sure she had gotten weaker, and it was a good opportunity for her and Cal Arner to increase in wing number. As for Middled, it would be a while before she can do anything of the sort. For now it would be best if she stuck to her regular routine. And that's actually a good idea, would you mind training me and my peerage as well, Naruto-kun? They heard Rias ask Naruto as she entered the room with Issei in tow. I don't see why not, it could give me a decent workout at the very least, Naruto said nonchalantly as he rose from the couch carrying Kaneko with him. Well, are you coming or what? Naruto asked as he looked at his peerage as well as Rias' peerage before he left with Kaneko still attached to him. Naruto led them all to the forest behind the orc building where he stopped and put Kaneko down, resulting in a pout from the small girl, almost making him want to pick her up again. Now Kaneko-chan, I'll pet you some more later, Naruto said, earning him a smile from Kaneko. Now here's what I want you guys to do, I want you all to fight me one at a time, so I can see what you need to improve upon, Naruto said as he stretched a bit, explaining how he was going to train the peerages. So first up, let's have Rainer, Naruto said as he got into his fighting stance, his fox ears and tails coming out showing his anticipation for a good fight. Rainer, seeing this, immediately brought out her wings and dashed towards Naruto, aiming at his face. Rainer formed a light spear and threw it at Naruto, only for him to dodge it at a hair's breadth in form and launch his own spear made of fire, to which Rainer dodged only to receive some singes from the heat of the fire spear of Naruto. I'm afraid you're going to have to do better than that, Rainer-chan, Naruto said with a grin plastered on his face. Getting riled up from her failure to hit Naruto, Rainer quickly made another spear and threw it at Naruto, only for him to dodge again and launch another spear of fire, which Rainer dodged perfectly, only to see Naruto appear in front of her. Just as she was about to react, she suddenly felt the wind get knocked out of her body as she was sent flying backwards from Naruto's punch. Immediately using her wings to break her short flight, she readied a light spear in both hands and dashed right back up to Naruto. Seeing this, Naruto took a few steps backwards before casting his next spell, Bokaheki Firewall, which immediately set up a wall of flames in front of him. The effect was Reiner getting a few burns from her inability to change directions at the speed she was going and thus suffered the effects of ramming into a flame wall at full speed. Good job Reiner-chan, though you need to work on moving in high speeds, as well as strategy methods. You can't keep using the same attack pattern twice in a row, Naruto said as he helped Reiner up, channeling some of his chakra and Yaki into Reiner's burns to help speed up the healing process. Hal Orner is around your level, so I'm going to put her with you during training. Next up is Kaneko-chan, Naruto said as Kaneko got into a ready stance which resembled a boxer's stance. Moving on a hair's trigger, Kaneko dashed up to Naruto while aiming a few punches at Naruto which he easily parried. Changing her strategy, Kaneko tried to grapple Naruto, emphasis on tried. She was easily countered and grappled into submission hold herself. For you Kaneko, I would say you need to incorporate kicks into your fighting style, as well as learn how to use Senjutsu, Naruto said, releasing Kaneko, saying the last part quietly to her, knowing she wanted to keep it under wraps for now. Hi senpai arigato, Kaneko said as she dusted herself off. She was happy at getting someone to teach her to use that accursed art. From what she remembered, she knew Naruto could teach her well. She was never angry at Senjutsu because of its innate anger and darkness, rather it was the thing that caused her sister to lose herself into its power, as well as no one was there to teach it to her. Now that she did, she was more comfortable with training to use Senjutsu. Up next is Ukiba, Naruto said as he formed a blade of fire in his hand, readying himself for Kiba since he was a swordsman. Kiba prepared himself as well and formed a blade into his hand while running towards Naruto at breakneck speeds, hoping to land a solid cut on him, only to have his blade parried leaving him open to an attack. Reacting quickly, Kiba jumped backwards and formed his swords which had an ice affinity, hoping that it would counteract Naruto's own blade, only for him to receive a shock when Naruto formed a blade of wind in his other hand, which easily cut his ice blade in two. From just blocking with it, seeing his error, Kiba quickly jumped back so as not to receive a cut from either the wind or fire blades. Our footwork needs some work, Kiba, Naruto stated in a slightly serious tone. If you can't manage to change that, your techniques will be weakened from the lack of footing, Naruto explained to Kiba. Kiba, taking his advice, formed another blade and ran at Naruto at a more sedate pace and tried to increasing his power rather than speed. Seeing this, Naruto just simply sidestepped the attack while kicking Kiba in the back, knocking him on the ground. So that's it for now, Kiba, you need to work on your footwork and power while still maintaining speed, but other than that, good try, Naruto said to Kiba, helping him up from the ground. As for Urias-chan, Akeno-chan, I know you both focus on magic more, so I want you two to learn a fighting style for hand-to-hand combat, unless either of you want to learn how to use a weapon. Naruto said as he explained Ria's and Akeno's main weakness, which they had to agree was true hand-to-hand was not their thing, so they both chose a weapon, Ria's choosing a Naginata, while Akeno chose a Kusarigama of all things, and both girls went to train with them. Now Issei, come at me, Naruto said to Issei, who immediately gulped in fear. Well, what are you waiting for, come at me, Naruto said to Issei. He was busy trembling in his shoes. Issei, stealing what he could of his resolve, he formed his sacred gear on his hand and dashed at Naruto at such pathetic speeds, making Naruto think even kids were faster. Issei reached Naruto, he threw a punch only for Naruto to dodge and knee Issei in the gut, knocking Issei over. Is that it, Issei? How are you going to reach your dream with that kind of power? Naruto asked, disappointed at Issei's pathetic attempt of attacking. I'm sorry senpai, but I'm not overly strong, but I will not let anyone trample over my dream, Issei said, just as everyone heard someone shout explosion, and just as they heard it, they saw Issei gear change shape into a more draconic looking form covering his forearm entirely. Not a twice critical, oh wait, red markings, green gem, I see, it seems fate has granted you a boon, you have the sacred gear known as boosted gear, a long Ines Nero said to Issei, who was still admiring the new form his sacred gear seemed to take. Boosted gear? Issei asked confusedly. Thus charge it up, y'all see as we fight, Naruto instructed. Boost. Issei heard the gear say dashing at Naruto with new power running through his veins. Naruto easily kicked him in the side, sending Issei flying. Still weak, Naruto said with a sweat drop. Reset, the gear said when Issei landed on the ground. At least you get a stronger sacred gear user, Rias-chan, Naruto said to Rias, getting a nod in return as she healed Issei of his wounds. Well, if that's it, let's go back to the orc if we're done here, Naruto said as he picked up Kaneko and carried her. It seemed he really enjoyed playing with Kaneko at times. Seeing this, everyone followed him to the orc where they treated their injuries, and Naruto told them what they could do to improve upon their fighting styles. At night, Issei was running around for his work, which was collecting contracts which he had yet to get one, but at least he was persistent in the matter. On his way to his contracts via bike, Issei stopped in front of a normal home, parking his bike on the side of the wall near the house. Entering the home, he noticed it was eerily dark and there were no sounds, as if no one was there at the moment, and yet the lights were on. Anyone home? You summoned me earlier, Issei announced, getting a little spooked at the silence of the house. Hearing no response at all, he proceeded to go to the living room where he got the shock of his life. There, hanging on the wall, was a human that looked like he had been tortured before being put out of his misery. Holding in his vomit, he looked at the human remains until suddenly he heard a voice laugh. "Ahaha, good evening, shitty devil, I see you've finally arrived," a white-haired priest said to Issei as he came out of the adjoining room. "Who are you? Did you do this?" Issei asked, still feeling a bit queasy. "Mo, you mean this shitey human?" "Yep, he was so pathetic calling a devil, so I killed him. I'm the awesome priest Fried Zelzen, nice to meet you, shitty devil," Fried said as he introduced himself vulgarly. Quickly activating his sacred gear, Issei quickly jumped towards Fried, who brought out his light sword and a gun, symbolizing he was an exorcist. Though Issei didn't know this at the time, Fried easily dodged Issei's attack and shot him through the leg to halt his movement somewhat. Issei, feeling the pain in his leg, ignored the pain to strike at Fried, only for him to dodge again, this time slashing Issei in the back, this time paralyzing Issei due to the amounts of holy energy flooding his body. "I guess this is goodbye, shitty devil," Fried said as he aimed his gun at Issei's head. "Fried senpai, what are you doing?" Issei heard a familiar voice say to the deranged priest. Looking at the door which he heard the voice, his eyes widened. There standing was Asia. "What is she doing here?" Issei thought to himself. "Issei-kun, why are you here?" Asia asked as soon as she saw Issei. "So you know this shitty devil woman?" Fried asked, slightly intrigued at the reaction of the two. "Hi, he helped me earlier, so please let him go." Fried senpai, Asia pleaded with Fried, who seemed to contemplate on the question. "How about no?" Fried said as he kicked Asia away, once again aiming his gun at Issei's head. "What do you think you are doing to my servant priest?" Issei heard Ria's voice resound through the room. Suddenly a bright light erupted in the room, bathing the room, a red light. In the center of the room, a magic circle appeared, revealing the orc minus Naruto and the fallen angels. "But you?" Issei shouted to Ria, showing he was alive and kicking. "More shitty devils arrive on the scene," Fried said, showing he was still in the room. "Like quite vulgar for a priest, won't you say?" Ria said. "I but you, he certainly is," Akeno stated as she cupped her cheek while staring at Fried. "Oh, loving gaze or a heated gaze, what a wonderful thing to receive," Fried rambled as he hugged himself. "Megan," Ria said as she launched her power of destruction at Fried, who dodged to the side. "Whoa, that was dangerous, I'll be going now, you shitty devils," Fried said as he threw a smoke bomb and vanished when the smoke cleared. "Akeno, get Issei to the clubroom," Ria said seriously. "I but you," Akeno said as she teleported with Issei. "Kiba, bring the nun with you to the clubroom, it would seem she is an exiled nun, we can hopefully add her to our ranks," Ria said to Kiba, who immediately went to Asia and darted out of the room. Seeing nothing else to do, she left with Kaneko to the clubroom. Hopefully Naruto can pull some strings for her so she won't get in trouble for adding Asia to her peerage, but first she had to get Issei healed. The air in the orc was very tense as Naruto glared at Rias with a visibly annoyed expression on his face, showing his displeasure at whatever she did. "Well, what do you need? Was it so important that you had to interrupt a really darn good massage and call me over here to the orc?" Naruto asked Rias with an eye twitch, and his arms were crossed over his chest, showing his displeasure of being in the orc. You see, Rias had just interrupted a massage session from Kalorner and Rainer, who were trying to get Naruto to relax. Naruto was already relaxed and enjoying the massage with both Kalorner's and Rainer's breasts pressing against his back as they gave him a full body massage. Unfortunately, a call from Rias once more put him in a bad mood from the interruption of his massage. Sensing Naruto's obvious annoyance, Rias cut straight to the chase, not wanting to waste any more time, which will no doubt irritate Naruto further. "Very well, you see, earlier this evening, Issei ran into a rogue priest during a contract call," Rias began to explain. "I still don't see how this involves me," Naruto retorted, interrupting Rias. "I was getting there, you see, as we retrieved and retreated with Issei. We also retrieved an exiled nun who has a sacred gear. I was hoping you could use your political influence to perhaps minimize any backlash this incident might cause," Ria said with a slightly pleading tone in her voice. "I see, well, I'll see what I can do. Have you turned her yet though?" Naruto asked as he stood up ready to leave for his home once more. "Not yet, I was hoping for you to tell me when it would be appropriate, otherwise I risk a backlash from God's faction restarting the war," Rias explained to Naruto, who nodded in agreement. "Well, to make things easier, you might want to reincarnate her now before the angels or fallen angels find out about her being here," Naruto said, though seeing the blank looks of everyone prompted him to explain more. "You see, if she's still a nun, they can turn this into a violation of the ceasefire agreement, so if you turn her now they have no argument to get her back, since she will be a devil under your control," Naruto said with a sigh at their cluelessness. "I see, well then I better go get a new servant for my peerage," Ria said as she left for Asia's temporary room, which Kiba brought her to. "Well, if that's all, I'm leaving," Naruto said as he turned around ready to leave the orc lounge before he felt a soft pair of breasts planted firmly on his back. Please wait for me, Foxy-kun, I'll be spending the night with you, but you will no doubt be occupied for the night, Akeno said in a teasing voice. As the two left the orc, Kaneko had already gone ahead to Naruto's house. You see. Are you sure you're fine with them around? I don't like seeing my friends fight each other, Naruto asked Akeno. Since they were now out of earshot of everyone else, Naruto was aware that Akeno still hasn't gotten over her hate for fallen angels just yet. Ara, don't worry too much, Foxy-kun, I'll be sure to control myself. After all, we don't like seeing you sad after all, so for your sake there will be no fighting for now, Akeno explained as she walked alongside him holding his arm close to her bust. Sighing at her response, Naruto decided to keep quiet for now, knowing this was as good as he was going to get for now. At least she wasn't going to openly antagonize the fallen angels at his house. Reaching his house, Naruto allowed Akeno to enter first before entering himself. So where are the other residents here? Akeno asked because she didn't want to meet the fallen angels at all. She may not fight them, but she would rather not see them at all if at all possible. Ray-chan, Kala-chan, and Mit-chan went to sleep as soon as I left for the orc. Konko-chan I believe went my guest room already, Naruto answered Akeno's inquiry. Well then, since they're asleep, perhaps I can give you my massage, Akeno said with a sultry tone in her voice as she took off her cape and started to unbutton her shirt. Akeno-chan, what are you doing? Naruto asked with a blush on his face. Ara, Foxy-kun, are you turned on already by me simply removing my clothes? Akeno replied as she stripped to her undergarments, her shirt and skirt already off. She could see that the front of Naruto's pants were already tightening. Why don't we take this to your room, Naruto-kun, Akeno said as she dragged Naruto towards his room, since Naruto's brain seemed to do a slight reboot and could not move on his own yet. Akeno-chan, you know we can't go all the way for now, right? Naruto asked, since kitsune were known to mate only during periods of heat unless they were already mated or were just really close friends. Ara, we don't need to go the whole way for now, just something to help you relax. I could see you were so stressed earlier, Naruto-sama, Akeno said hotly as she began to strip Naruto. Hearing the sama suffix added to his name, Naruto felt his member harden even more as Akeno began her ministrations. Lime scene. Quickly moving to remove Naruto's shirt, Akeno pushed him against the bed while removing his shirt, all the while leaning on him, pressing her breasts on his exposed chest. Naruto, seeing this, proceeded to then remove his pants to quicken the pace Akeno seemed to be setting. Naruto, finally stripped down to his boxers, sat on the middle of his bed, his back leaning on the headboard of the bed. Akeno saw this and quickly unclasped her bra, revealing her rather large breasts to Naruto. Almost immediately Naruto brought up his hands to cup Akeno's breast, squeezing and groping her breasts, making Akeno moan slightly at Naruto's actions. Leaning forward, Naruto captured one of her nipples in his mouth while his hand tugged on the other nipple, which served to increase the volume of Akeno's moans. Akeno was in bliss. All she could do from Naruto's ministrations was to grip his head closer to her bust. Seeing this, Naruto moved lower and placed his hand under her panties and started to massage her clit slowly before inserting a few fingers inside, massaging her pussy. Akeno moaned at his attention to her pussy. After a few minutes, Naruto managed to find Akeno's sweet spot, causing her to climax loudly. Hey Akeno, mind helping me out too? Naruto asked, to which Akeno nodded in response. Slowly pushing Naruto down on the bed, she climbed lower on Naruto's body until she was positioned over Naruto's crotch, slowly pulling down Naruto's boxers to reveal Naruto's hardened member, which was around 7 inches and was bound to get bigger as he grew older. Slowly grasping the base of Naruto's member, she started to stroke his dick with one hand while her other hand massaged his balls. Naruto, in his moment of bliss, could not even speak as he simply grabbed Akeno's head and brought it closer to his dick. Seeing this, Akeno opened her mouth and welcomed his dick into her mouth, licking the underside of his dick, eliciting a moan from Naruto. Deciding to speed up her movements to get Naruto's sperm in her mouth, she hugged Naruto's waist with one hand as she began to deep-throat Naruto's dick while her other hand continued to massage his balls. By this point, Akeno looked up at Naruto, hoping to see his reaction to her blowjob, which in turn caused Naruto to go near his limit when he saw he faced particularly her eyes as she looked up at him. Akeno-shan, I'm about to cum, Naruto said as he gripped Akeno's head tighter as he released his sperm into Akeno's mouth. Spurt after spurt, Akeno did her best to swallow Naruto's cum until she cold and it started to leak from the sides of her mouth. Finally, feeling the last spurt, Naruto released Akeno's head, showing a lot of cum flowing from her mouth. Akeno, not wanting to waste his sperm, decided to put on a small show for him. Opening her mouth, she showed him the copious amount of sperm inside her mouth before mixing it around her mouth with her tongue before swallowing it loudly before showing to Naruto. She indeed drank his cum, getting Naruto slightly hard again. Want to continue, Naruto-sama? Akeno asked as she started plating kisses on his body before planting a last one on top of his dick. Sorry, but I have to keep to tradition with kitsune mating rituals, so sex is off the table for now, Naruto said to Akeno, who looked a bit down at that. Oh, it's okay, I can think of other things to do, Akeno said before she summarily pushed Naruto down again on the bed. This time though she inverted herself showing her cunt to Naruto, while her head hovered over Naruto's dick in the 69 position. Starting ahead, Akeno once again took Naruto's dick into her mouth while her hands massaged his thighs and balls. Not wanting to be undone, Naruto spread her pussy apart, showing the pink linings inside. Sticking his tongue out, he began to lick the inside of Akeno's pussy, causing her to go down deeper on his cock. After a few minutes of pleasuring each other, they both approached their climaxes. "Naruto-sama, I'm about to come," Akeno exclaimed as her pussy began to tighten around Naruto's tongue. "Yeah, I'm reaching my limit as well," Akeno Naruto said as he felt his balls tighten when Akeno went back to sucking his cock. "Ah, Akeno Naruto-sama," the two said as they reached their limits and finally climaxed. "Lemon end." "Thanks," Akeno Naruto said as he cuddled with Akeno once they had recovered enough, pulling the sheets, although wet from their love-making, over them. "You're welcome, Naruto-sama," Akeno said as the two slowly drifted to sleep, tired from their love-making. The next morning, Naruto woke up with a yawn, stretching out his arms to relieve the stiffness in them. Moving out of his bed, he noticed an obstruction. Looking to see what it was, he saw Akeno's bare naked body lying beside him, memories of last night entering his mind. "Good morning, Naruto-sama," Akeno said with a sly smile. "Good morning, Akeno-chan," Naruto greeted in response. "Well, can I get out? I have to prepare breakfast after all," Naruto asked Akeno. "Sure, Naruto-sama," Akeno said as she got out of bed, stretching her arms above her head, providing more emphasis to her rather large chest. Watching Naruto stare at her, she decided to tease him a bit. "See anything you like?" Akeno asked Naruto with a sly grin on her face. "Why yeah, I do," Naruto stuttered out, a bit embarrassed as he was caught staring. "Well, it'll be downstairs if you need me," Naruto said as he moved to leave the room. Ara Naruto-sama, are you sire you want to go down like that? I didn't know you were a nudist," Akeno said as she pointed out his nude form, which she ogled openly. Looking down at his body, he noticed she was right, he had forgotten to put on any clothes on himself. Seeing this, he moved towards his closet where he then brought out his school uniform and quickly moved to get dressed. Akeno slightly pouted at Naruto, who was now covering up his body, which was in her opinion absolute perfection. Once Naruto was dressed, he told Akeno where the shower was and left her to begin his preparations of breakfast. As soon as Akeno went towards the kitchen table, she took note of the people who were sitting there, the three fallen angels and Kaneko. Middle looked at her with an annoyed glare, while Kalorner and Rainer looked at her with jealousy and slight anger. Kaneko's expression was the hardest to read unless you had known her for a long time, though her eyes belied how annoyed she was at Akeno. Ara, what did I do to get this attention? Don't tell me you guys are secretly in the closet." Akeno cold to resist the urge to tease the group. "Shut up, you big-breasted bimbo," Middle said, getting the attention of Akeno. Ara, I don't recall pissing you off yet, Loli-chan," Akeno retorted. "Shut up, you ruined my sleep with all those screams you and Naruto-sama were doing last night. What on earth were you doing anyway?" Middle asked, getting sweat drops from everyone. Ara, you really don't know. For a fallen angel you sure are clueless," Akeno teased. "She doesn't know, she is still innocent of those matters," Kalorner intervened for Middle, explaining to Akeno the situation. "Though that doesn't let you off the hook, what were you doing with Naruto-sama last night?" Rainer asked with a slightly murderous gaze. "I was simply finishing his massage for you. Naruto-sama told me you were interrupted from massaging him and you had gone to sleep when he returned, so I finished your massage for you. You should be thanking me for finishing your work, you know," Akeno said rather innocently. This got her glares from Kalorner and Rainer, though before anyone could break the silence, Naruto walked through the door carrying plates of rice and bacon with eggs. "I prepared you guys breakfast, hope you enjoy it," Naruto said before he noticed the atmosphere of the group with Kalorner and Rainer glaring at Akeno, who was ignoring it. "Am I interrupting anything here?" Naruto asked, hoping they weren't about to fight in front of him. "No senpai, we were just asking what you were doing with Akeno-senpai last evening," Kaneko answered for the group. Even though she knew what they were doing, she wanted to keep pressure on Naruto and Akeno. I think I left something in the kitchen," Naruto said as he evaded the question before heading back into the kitchen. Seeing Naruto leave, everyone stared at Akeno expectantly, as if they wanted her to tell them everything that happened. Ara, since it's personal, I'll give you a few hints. It was good," Akeno said with a smile and blush on her face, eliciting blushes from Kalorner, Rainer, and Kaneko, while Middle was still confused. "And to think we didn't even get to the good part yet," Akeno said with a sigh, cupping her cheek with her hand, causing Kalorner and Rainer to faint with a growing nosebleed, Kaneko to glare even harder, while blushing, and Middle to look even more confused. Later at the Orc. Naruto was seated in the Orc beside Akeno, both drinking tea, while Kaneko was on Naruto's lap, getting a scalp massage from Naruto's free hand. "Well, Rias, have you turned her yet?" Naruto asked in curiosity. "Not yet, you see, just before I was about to turn her I received a message from the fallen angel Donishik. It was a challenge for ownership of Asia," Rias stated with a grim look on her face. "If it was a challenge against your peerage, you should be happy, right?" Naruto asked. It seemed Rias was holding something back. You see it wasn't for us, Donishik issued the challenge to you, Ria said with a look of apprehension. He wants to fight me? He must be dumber than I thought, Naruto stated as he took a sip out of his tea. Naruto, this is serious. Rias began to say but was cut off. I am serious, Rias-chan, I am far stronger than a simple one-set fallen angel, Naruto said in absolute seriousness. He speaks the truth, Rias-san, he can take on medium-high class to a low-tiered ultimate class on his own, Rainer said, having been a witness to Naruto battle prowess. Hearing this, everyone was shocked. Medium-high class to a low-tiered ultimate class, that meant all the supernatural beings in town could team up against him and still not land a hit on Naruto. That was how strong his level was. Well, where did he say the match will be held? Naruto asked as he rose from his seat, putting Kaneko down reluctantly. The abandoned church on the far side of town, Rias answered Naruto, who nodded. Well then, I won't keep him waiting any longer, Naruto said as he left the Orc Lounge. A grin was visible on his face, reminiscent of a predator having found its prey. He had some fallen angel to kill and he was going to enjoy every second of it. It had been a short walk for Naruto to get from the Orc Lounge all the way to the church. Naruto was trembling in anticipation to finish his fight with the fallen angel that ran away from him. After all, he had been itching for a fight for quite some time since moving to Kuo. Naruto-sama, please wait for us, Naruto heard Cal Arner call out to him. Unbeknownst to the three fallen angels, Naruto was in a state of battle lust, completely ignoring everything else, focusing only on his opponent. Finally reaching the abandoned church, Naruto immediately took note of Donishik standing in front of the massive doors with a light spear at the ready in his hands. So you came after all, fox boy, Donishik quipped, getting into his fighting stance with his arm, ready to throw the light spear at a moment's notice, while removing his trench coat and hat, revealing his muscle shirt and jeans, as well as his black hair that lay beneath his clothing. Just bring it, you old crow, Naruto retorted as he got his fox ears and tail hiding the other 8 tails, making him appear to be a one-tailed fox, flames forming in his hands like a gauntlet made of flames. Don't get cocky with me, boy, Donishik yelled as he took to the sky and launched a flurry of light spears one after another at Naruto, only for him to dodge each and every one. Once Naruto got tired of dodging the spears of light, he ran up the side of the church, shocking Donishik, who didn't know Naruto could do such a thing. If that's all you got, then you're already finished, Naruto said as he took a big leap at Donishik. Once he reached the edge of the wall he was running on, Donishik on the other hand was stunned at his opponent's battle prowess. He was expecting a weak opponent, not this. Unable to react in time, Naruto threw a series of 2-hit punches at Donishik, knocking him to the ground, cratering it easily from the power Donishik was sent flying into it. Now please give me a challenge at least, Naruto said as he landed near his opponent, walking towards the downed Donishik, who was now spitting up blood. His left arm was broken, as were his legs, his wings, well, it didn't look like wings at the moment, and Donishik was pretty sure he had ruptured a few organs as well. Once Naruto neared him, Donishik formed a small light dagger in his right arm, hidden from Naruto's view. I told you not to get cocky, boy, Donishik shouted as soon as Naruto entered his stabbing range, grinning in victory at his cheap shot, only to have his expression turn into one of horror. His hand had been easily caught by Naruto, who crushed Donishik's hand, dispelling the light dagger. Really now, underhanded tactics. Even at that you suck, Naruto said as he delivered a devastating punch to Donishik's face, knocking him further into the ground. Boss was right, you guys are monsters, Donishik said as he once more tried to form his wings to try and retreat to get some distance between them, only to stumble when he saw chains bursting from Naruto's back binding him in place, destroying what was left of his wings. Just what are you, brat? Donishik yelled as he tried to form a light spear or at least escape, only to find it futile as his arms were broken and he could not even move to run away. No one, just a simple fox, Naruto replied as he formed a flame blade in his hand, raising it over his head, preparing to strike Donishik down in a classic executioner style. This is the end, ashes to ashes, Naruto said as soon as the sword touched Donishik's head, turning him into nothing but ashes in a moment of dancing flames. That was rather boring, Naruto said as he started to walk away from the ashes of Donishik, once again concealing his fox ears and tails, as well as dispelling his fire sword. Naruto, are you alright? He heard Rias ask from behind him, for the first time taking notice of the spectators, with their eyes open in shock at how he easily defeated the fallen angel, not even knowing he held back his other 8 tails, limiting his power a lot, except for the fallen angels who were his servants who knew exactly how many tails he held. Yeah, rather boring though. When did you guys get here? Naruto asked as he walked towards the combined group. We arrived at the same time as you, though you didn't seem to notice us for some reason, Akeno answered Naruto's inquiry. And that's so? Well, I'm done here, let's go and turn Asia into your new piece now then, Naruto said nonchalantly, like he didn't just get into a fight. Fine, let's just get back, but I expect answers when we get back, Ria said as she teleported her peerage, knowing that Naruto was probably not going to answer any of her questions at the moment, while Naruto took a lift from Reiner and Kalorner, who flew him to the orc room where Rias would be awaiting them. In the orc. So what was that exactly, Naruto? It was like you had begun to delve into some kind of bloodlust, Rias asked Naruto as she sat down behind her desk, crossing her fingers in front of her face as she did when she got serious. They could finally talk since she had turned Asia into a devil earlier and she was having Issei watch over her for a while. Since you guys have seen that, I guess I have to explain it, but I'll only say it once, so listen up. That was what Ka-san calls battle lust or bloodlust. It occurs when youngling yakai who have the potential to use senjutsu but have not yet fully mastered it. It increases our battle instincts and closes of the world to us. Only our enemies will be the focus of our attention. Naruto explained as he sat on a couch with Reiner, Kalorner and Middled. Senpai, does that mean you have yet to master senjutsu? Kaneko asked with wide eyes. She had thought that Naruto had already mastered senjutsu. No, I'd say I mastered over 70 to 85% of senjutsu. The last parts comes with maturity and age, which I have yet to reach, Naruto replied as leaned back on the couch. See, if that's the case, why don't we see if we can speed it up? It sounds like you become a loose cannon when you enter bloodlust, Rias offered Naruto with a smile. If he could learn to control senjutsu, then she might find herself a champion. Not that he wasn't already powerful on his own, she just wanted to make sure he had full focus during battle. No, there's no way to speed up the process of mastering senjutsu fully. Even Azazel has tried to help me and my Yamato, but even he couldn't find a way to speed up its mastery, Naruto explained with a sigh, remembering all those tests he was forced to undergo since he was volunteered by Azazel as his test subject. Not wanting his Yamato anywhere near the perverted angel who fell from heaven for his lust. You already tried? Rias asked Naruto in surprise. Yep, I did, but it was a failure, so I just decided to unlock my power normally like Ka-san did, Naruto said as he got up from the couch. Well, if that's all, I'll take my leave now, Naruto said as he left the orc with Reiner, Kalorner and Midlet. Kaneko had somehow managed to get a piggyback ride. Let's introduce Asia into her new life, shall we? Please fetch Asia Kiba if you please, Ria said as she took a sip of the tea Akeno had prepared for her earlier. Once Kiba had returned with Asia, Ria's